Welcome to Born on the Bayou Sports, a Houston sports show made for Houstonians by Houstonians. Join Tim Costello and Scott Barzilla every week as they break down the latest in Houston Astros, Rockets, and Texans news. Tim's a former minor league broadcaster, and Scott has written 2 books on the Baseball Hall of Fame. Yeah, if Javier could get it figured out, it would make things a lot easier because he was that guy everybody was counting on this year to be a Cy Young candidate, take that big step forward and help anchor this rotation with Fromber.
Since he's come to Houston, you can look at the development of guys like Carlos Correa defensively, Jeremy Pena defensively. I mean, you can Alex Bregman's, certainly I think a better than average third baseman.
And now you're putting teams in 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 9. Now here comes Will Anderson. Pin back your ears, let's go. So if you're Bayou born and bred, or just like spending time in the H, sit down, relax, and stay Houston strong. Welcome, all my friends, to the podcast that once again is singing some happy fucking times. Scott, I feel like the winter blues are not here right now. This is Houston, at least for you. Houston sports for me, and we still got that Gulf Coast breeze keeping us warm through these winter times as the Texans defense is just on fire, baby.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't hurt when you got to spend some time in the AZ there this last week.
It was not as warm as you'd think it would be. It is the desert, so at night it got pretty fucking cold. Down into like the mid to low 40s. However, when I left Dallas, it was like 32. I came back to like flat tires at the airport. But it was, absolutely beautiful. I if anyone ever is like, hey, should I stare at the Fairmont Princess in Scottsdale? Like, the answer is yeah, you should, for sure. They had the largest Christmas light display in Arizona there, so that was included in our room. So that was really cool. And then just nice to get away. I stuck my wife in there with me. The company was already paying for my room and my flight. She had some miles, and it was a good chance for her to read a book, relax. She didn't have to hear the phrase Mrs. Costello or Mom for 4 straight days. So I think she really enjoyed that.
Yeah, sounds like it.
But Scott, I have an opening question for you. You mentioned the winter meetings you mentioned the winter meetings in our conversation before the show, not just peeling back that curtain a little bit for our listeners. I want to know right now, what move would you like to see? And I don't care if it's realistic. I don't care if it's unrealistic. What move could the Houston Astros make that would make Scott Barzilla get up from his chair, go, fuck yeah, baby, and just like rip the shirt wide open?
Yeah, I'm going to go, realistic. I mean, I hate to say realistically because you just said not. Let's say that, we just...
Well, preface it, Scott. Is there a move out there that would actually make you stand up, rip your stir open, and yell, fuck yeah, baby?
Okay, so, we just sold our minor league affiliates, right?
I did, yeah.
So instead, before that deal, say like, okay, Pittsburgh, here's our A-ball affiliate. We're going to take Paul Skeens off your hands.
You trade the A-ball affiliate for
Paul Skeens.
That's a good one. Has there ever been a move in our life that made you do that?
Usually they're deadline deals, right? Randy Johnson was that kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
I think JV was that kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
The initial JV, not the second JV deal.
Disagree, but okay.
I mean, I was excited, but we were a little bit older. JV, he wasn't quite as good in New York. So, you're like, yeah, I'd like to have him back, but you're like not quite as giddy as you were the first time.
I think you're underselling it. At the time, because think back. Were we on the air at that time? Because I wish we could go back and check the
I
tapes
think
from
we
that.
were. I think maybe at the old podcast.
So the Rangers had just got Scherzer.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
And this was our responding move,
Yeah.
right? Like we were in a dogfight with the Rangers. They went and got Scherzer. We went and got Verlander, and it was let's fucking go, right? Like that was the vibe. It wasn't this measured take that you're having now. And I do think our reactions were recorded, so we might have to go back to the old snap hook footage and see what's on there.
I would say you would agree with me here. You had to be pretty giddy about the Beltran move, the 2004
one. I'll be honest with you. Like when it happened, I was like excited, but I didn't truly comprehend like what this player was at the time, right? Like you're being told like, hey, we traded for this guy, good fielder, good hitter. I think he homered in that first Cubs series where we had him. We had just traded for him from Kansas City. We were playing the Cubs in a day game, and if I remember correctly, he hits like an Oppo Taco like left center as a left-handed batter, and I was like, okay. Saw him make some plays. I'm like, okay, but then the playoffs and the stretch down the run is really where he made his mark here, and then after that, he was gone.
And so I think with the Astros history, and I don't know, maybe this is recent history, but they don't tend to make a lot of huge additions during the winter meetings. I think they may deal away some players. I think what happens with, particularly with Jim Crane, is he tends to make later signings. Like the Haters signing came later. Some of the other prominent signings, like Christian Walker was after the winter meetings, but it was in December. But that wasn't one of those, yeah, we got Christian Walker. I mean, it was like, yeah, okay, yeah, all right. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I was. See, that's what I'm saying. Like most of our free agent signings lately, I've been like, okay, makes sense, fills a need, fills a gap. When we signed Abreu, I was like, okay, cool, we got a good first baseman. Okay, cool, I'm excited. I was wrong. I was excited, but I wasn't like, let's rip my shirt off, let's go. When we traded for Carlos Correa at the deadline this year, I didn't rip my shirt off, but I literally stopped what I was doing, went and found my Correa jersey that I had packed away. Like literally, it was like a sad moment for me. Like it took a year of it just hanging there in the closet of me not wearing it, and to like packing it away. And then I was so fucking excited when we traded for him. I went and got it back out. I took a picture in it. Scott, you've seen the picture, that he's home, had the I'm coming home playing in the background, right? Like that was one of those moments for me. Signing the combination of Andy Pettit and Roger Clemens the first time around, right? With the fucking orange Hummer. I mean, come on. That was a pretty big one.
I'll tell you one, and here's one interesting, and I think you would agree with me on this one. The trade that we should have been more giddy for at the time, but I don't think we were, was Garrett Cole. And I think the reason is because Cole hadn't really performed well in Pittsburgh, and we didn't yet have that reputation. Like we turned Charlie Morton around, but I don't think we yet had that reputation as, the pitch doctors that could turn somebody around. But looking back at what Cole did in Houston, we should have been a lot more giddy at that trade than we were at the time.
I was pretty excited, but yeah, you're right. That one we just didn't acknowledge when it happened of like, holy shit, we just got the most dominant pitcher in baseball because we didn't know. Absolutely. The Randy Johnson one, I agree with you on that one. That one was crazy. That was sick. One we haven't mentioned, how about Zach Greinke, right? 2019, you just traded for Zach Greinke. I think that one wasn't like rip my shirt open excited, but I think it was like my head exploded with the fact that like Zach Greinke was now an Astro, right? Like I was on air, I was broadcasting, I was in between innings, and the scoreboard operator for the team that I worked for was also a fellow Astros fan. So he comes running to us, we got Greinke. I said, what? Yeah, he's trading for Zach Greinke.
All right.
Oh, because that one wasn't on the radar.
All right. So speaking of giddy, Tim. So on a scale of 1 to 10, where were you on Sunday night after that game?
Woo, Scott. Let's just say that the title on this section is that patty was overcooked. So I'm still pretty fucking giddy. I haven't, and let me tell you how giddy I was. I haven't listened to, watched hardly any podcast since Donald Trump was elected. And it wasn't even like political podcast. I knew if I opened that vault again, even for sports one, I would go back to listen to my political ones. So I shut them all off. Couple moments here or there at work, I'm like, listen to something, but I think in total, I've listened to like 8 podcasts in 2028 or 2026. I listened to New Heights today. I wanted to hear what fucking Travis Kelce had to say. I wanted him to look in the camera. I wanted to see that fucking defeated look in his eyes that still has it left. I watched it on YouTube, Scott. I didn't even just listen. I wanted to see his goddamn fucking face. And I saw the look of a broken man who realized in that moment when he got his goddamn fucking bell rung and it became an interception that was the moment he is like, I'm retiring. That was it. And that feeling still has not left his face in 3 days, 4 days. And I saw it recorded live on a camera. And again, I haven't listened to that show in more than a year. I specifically tuned in today. That's how fucking giddy I am.
Well, here's the one that got me, Tim. So I'm listening to the morning show on 610, which is Sean Pendergast and Seth Payne. And I don't know if you knew that Seth Payne also has his own YouTube channel where he basically rewatches the Texans games. And he prefaced it by sitting there saying, okay, when you listen to this, you have to realize I didn't realize this play was coming up, but they did the Jalen Petrie hit.
Mm-hmm.
And Payne is just cackling for a solid 5 minutes. I was like, yes. I mean, I jokingly called that hit above average. That's probably, I don't know, this might be hyperbole, but the greatest hit in Texans history.
I mean, it's up there. It depends on how you want to quantify greatest hit in Texans history. If you want to include ones that we have received, you got to have the Rosie Copter in there because that was was sensational. But no, that one was absolutely unbelievable. And like the best part is like it was a completely 1000% clean hit. And like the Chiefs fans were trying, like there was like a former Chiefs guard who's on there bitching about headhunting and stuff like that. And it's like, I'm sorry. He led with his shoulder pad. He went into the other shoulder pad. I'm sorry. Like it was a fucking bone crunching hit, but it was 1000% legal. I mean, it literally that game at times looked like a deer that just got hit by a fucking semi truck at multiple moments where it's just like body is like the torso was going backwards and the feet are still planted and the arms are still like this way and your torso was like a yard behind everything else. Like that's literally how it looked at points.
Well, and what made it a great hit is that it dislodged the ball because normally that would have been a first down. Yeah. And that it's just not only the hit itself, but it's the timing of the hit that it caused, and to the fact that if Chris Collinsworth was such a big windbag, they would have gone back and questioned whether or not it was a catch and a fumble because it looked like he took a step, but he was kind of juggling the ball. He didn't have control. But in the moment, you could have sat there and said, hey, that's a fumble. Texan ball's going the other way. But, obviously that didn't end up panning out. I mean, this defense continues just to show up week after week after week. And, I'll have some, I know you're going to have some good things to say about them in a later segment. I'm going to have some good things to say. But it's just, I think we have to take a step back. So remember when this team is 3-5,
mm-hmm.
and we're trying to find a way to get to 10 wins, and you and I are walking through the schedule. Now, did you have them beating Buffalo?
Probably not in that time.
Did you have them beating the Colts?
I think I had a splitting. I don't think
think
I had us winning the one in Indy.
I think I had a splitting too. Did you have us beating the Chiefs?
I don't know. I really don't. I had us getting to 10. I was more optimistic than you. I had us at 10.
Which 10 now, I mean, knock
Would be
on
disappointing.
wood, because you got
10 would be disappointing.
Yeah, you got Arizona and Las Vegas the next 2 weeks. You'll have, you should have 10 wins going into week 17. And to me, it's not even the fact that they won each of those games individually. It's the fact they won them all. I mean, because you run that gauntlet, especially at the time. I mean, obviously we didn't know that Daniel Jones was going to be hurt, and we didn't know that the Colts were going to sign Abe Vigoda to be their quarterback. On the
Shane Falco wasn't available.
Shane Falco. So you remember that Snickers commercial with Betty White and Abe Vigoda playing flag football?
So yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, where she's just fucking
Abe Vigoda sitting there going back, getting smashed. Like I'm picturing Phillip Rivers, who we're obviously discussing, 44 years old. He's going to go if he doesn't play it. I don't think if he's not on the active roster, which he's on the practice squad right now, he'll be on the Hall of Fame ballot next year. I mean, imagine that.
I know.
And I could see him quarterbacking before the end of the year.
I'm honest. So I was talking to Haley about this. I have tickets to the last game of the season, and it's against Colts at home. That game is TBD, right? Like, because there's a pretty strong chance the Texans have a win and they're in, or win and you win the division kind of situation, right? Depending on what Jacksonville does. There's also, I was talking to her today. I was like, there's a pretty strong chance we're going to see fucking Phillip Rivers play quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, so how brazen is this, Scott? There are hundreds of quarterbacks that just graduated college, right? Hundreds at varying levels, right? I'm not just saying just major D1. I'm saying between D1, D2, D3, junior college. There's probably around 32 to 35 practice squad quarterbacks out there. There's another 15 to 20 guys who
were in
just flamed out.
Yeah, in camp and
flame out quarterbacks. And instead, you go to the guy who's coaching high school football, because that high school team runs the same offense that your NFL team does. And you and Phillip Rivers talk offense. And so he knows your offense. And it's just the height of arrogance of an NFL coach of I have to have someone who knows my offense. You have to know my system. I have to have a guy who knows my system. Get the fuck out of here, man. You literally are going to go with the guy who played NFL football 5 years ago over someone who's still fresh in camp, whatever, just because he knows your system, because he coaches it, because he's a fucking high school football coach at this point.
Well, because you remember when Baker Mayfield went to the Rams, what was he in LA for 17 hours?
Yeah.
And ends up quarterbacking them to a Thursday night victory. I mean,
that was incredible.
Did he know that offense? No.
I mean, they dumbed it down for him too.
I mean, yeah. So, all right. But on the flip side, Tim, we can't ignore in victory what we would ignore. We would, shout at the top of our lungs in defeat. That offense in the third quarter is probably the worst offense I've ever seen at any level. I watched Ann cheerlead 7th grade B games, and they ran a more effective offense than the Texans did in the third quarter.
Yeah, that was frustrating is a word. It wasn't. It was just inept, right? It was The play calling was so bad. Your offensive line's getting blitzed like crazy. If only there was like specific plays that were designed to counteract a blitz where like you let that heat come and then you flick it over the line of scrimmage just to like a back waiting with some linemen in front of them. Like if they haven't invented that, what would they call it? It would almost be like if you open like a screen door and let everybody through.
Well, you know what it reminded me of? Yeah, did you ever watch the movie Necessary Roughness?
Is that the one with Sinbad back in when he's in
Yeah.
college? Yeah, yeah, I love that movie.
And
Not Tom Berenger. Oh, it
I
is.
love it.
It's Tom
Scott
Berenger.
Bakula.
Bacula. Thank you.
But when the backup quarterback's in there, he's running behind the official, blow the whistle, blow the whistle. And then you see, but my favorite is on defense where the guys are like at the first play for scrimmage, are like double wing. So they all triple cover one wide receiver and leave the other one wide open for an easy touchdown. And it's like, that's the kind of just bass-ackward stuff they were doing. It's like, it's coming. They moved Chris Jones to be on Ursery. It's coming. I mean, and we still saw Dalton Schultz single blocking. Who's that, a defensive end that they got?
You're not talking about Chris Jones, are you?
No, but the other defensive end that had like 3 sacks in the playoffs.
Karlaftis?
Yeah, he was single blocking Karlaftis on plays. It's like, wait a minute, didn't we see this in the playoff game and saw that didn't work? I mean,
yeah.
And so I know, our good friends at 610 on the night show that they're going on right now. And I guarantee you their talking point is that D'Amico's not letting anything happen. But to me, this is basic competence. It's like you got to know what's coming. You've seen it for 4 series in the third quarter. You gain -2 yards. Now, to me, what killed me is that, and I'm going to get to this later on in the show, but Andy Reid gave you that game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it.
The momentum of that game had completely changed, Scott. I love this Houston Texans team, but holy shit, they're hard to watch, right? Because you go into halftime 10-0, you're feeling pretty good. It could have been more, right? I feel like we had a quarterback, a tight action under center, a tight end under center, but tush push play that should have been a first down, get called back. It should have been a penalty on the defense for lining up offsides. And instead they called it on our left tackle when he in fact was not offsides. So that ends up being 3 instead of 7, but 10-0. Okay, you're feeling good. Then the third quarter, as you said, was just such a clusterfuck offensively and really defensively too. There were a couple just not busted coverages, but guys who, have a lot of speed on the back end and were kind of able to run free in some moments. You're like, oh shit, here we go. Here it comes again, right? It's a house of horrors there in Kansas City for Houston fans. And it seemed to me we were very much heading that direction again, right? But they do always find a way. And this week, the way was getting a stop on 4th down in a part of the football field that allowed your offense to take advantage, right? They were pushing really, really hard to hold that to a field goal. And because of that, Woody Marks' effort to get past that first level and burst through in different points, CJ's ability to buy a little time with his legs. I mean, he only had 3 second-half completions, but I'm pretty sure on what, 2 of the 3, he's running for his life and throwing on the run. So he's doing enough to move the chains. Woody Marks' numbers aren't crazy, but there was some tough fucking running and some crucial first downs that he picked up. But again, a screen would have been great. A screen pass at any point would have been great because of the pressure that they were putting on. I just have to think at this point, Scott, that Nick Caley is under a mandate of don't cost me the football game, right? Like, don't put this team in a position that if we hold them to 16 points or fewer, you'll win. Try and score 17 a game. Don't turn it over. Let's play the field position game. Try and churn as much clock as we can. And you've got a defense that will literally win you football games.
This is my question, though, because I think I do believe that's his idea. If we score exactly 20 points and no more than 20 points, does this team win the Super Bowl in your mind?
Probably not. Not in the Super Bowl. I just don't think a Super Bowl at that scoring level will ever happen. There's just going to be too many flags or penalties because they want points. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like the mandate is like we want 49, 42 games. We don't want a 20-17 game.
And I don't think you get to the Super Bowl even with scoring 20 points a game. I think you get to the playoffs. I do. I think we're going to win probably 11 or 12 games as everything stands right now. And even if you win the AFC South, you're not going to have a first round bye. So you're going to have to play 3 football games again, with 1 or 2 of them being on the road. I mean, maybe we could get a second. If you're 12-5, maybe you squeeze in a second seed, but I see New England and Denver probably being a better record. So you're going to be
the thing that, Kansas City's going to be playing for their life against Denver, right? So that may work in our favor, but also Denver beat us, so they hold the tiebreaker in that situation as well.
Yeah, so I see us being, if we're 12-5 and AFC South champions, I see us as a 3 seed, which means that you're playing 2 road games, and you're going to have to go through either Denver or New England. I see us holding Denver to under 20 points. I think that happens.
Yes.
New England, I'm not as sure.
That's the one I'm worried about.
I'm not as sure. But then, even then, I mean, who do you think gets out of the AFC North?
I still think it's going to be the Steelers. I think it's going to be old ass Aaron Rodgers, one last ride.
I could see holding them to 20 or fewer points.
Yeah, I could see holding the Ravens. Their offense is
I don't know.
I just don't think they're going to. I think they're going to miss the playoffs. And I think Jim Harbaugh is going to be the next coach of the Michigan Wolverines.
I think Steelers. I think you can hold the Chargers under 20. I think you can hold. We've shown what we can do to the Jaguars. So I'm trying to think, who else gets into the Buffalo. We've already seen what they can do to Buffalo. But the whole idea of holding what would be now 7 consecutive games under 20 points just doesn't seem likely.
No, it doesn't. I mean, at some point, there's going to be some bad matchups, right? Like, we saw it against Seattle. They were bad. Like, Seattle matched up poorly, or they didn't execute the game plan. Or we want to say you definitely needed more than 20 points there. That's really the only game I feel like the defense didn't play great. I think Tampa Bay maybe at times he could have made some plays here or there. But the first game against the Rams, that was a tough defensive struggle. The loss against Jacksonville early on, that was a low-scoring game that you had a chance to win. Tampa Bay game.
The second Jacksonville game was really the outlier, and that was because of a special teams touchdown and a couple of early turnovers.
Right.
But your offense.
They had one full touchdown drive the whole game. Full take the ball and score.
Your offense scored that game. I just think there's going to be a game where you're going to need to get to 25 points.
Agreed. And it might even be because of a special teams issue or a turnover issue. It may not be the defense's fault.
Yeah.
But there's going to be a time where your offense has to rise. And every Super Bowl team has it, right? Like, to be fair, and the reason Tom Brady exists is because he had to rise, right? Like that early iteration of the Patriots was a defensive team. That was an elite defense. But Tom Brady, the offense, the offensive player is the one that had to rise to the occasion at moments and make plays on offense and go have a game-winning drive. The defense gave him the chance to have a game-winning drive, but Tom Brady's the one remembered offensively for going down there and either getting them in field goal range or put one in the end zone. So even these great defensive teams, the Steelers of the 70s and 80s, Terry Bradshaw is a Hall of Fame quarterback for what he was able to do offensively for those teams. Trent Dilfer had a job on ESPN for years because he could put Super Bowl winner on his roster on his resume because of his defense. But you knew Trent Dilfer won the Super Bowl for that team. You knew you felt you could trust what he was talking about on ESPN because hey, he won a Super Bowl. That's Trent Dilfer. Fuck, we should all shut up and listen. That's Trent fucking Dilfer, everybody.
And that's the thing that kills me is that when I just laid out all the teams that we have to go through, it sets up to where if you can manage to get to 25 points, I think this team could go the distance. I really do.
Adrian, no one's ever gone the distance with Creed. I just want to go the distance with Creed.
I just want to drink 3 raw eggs.
I don't know if they had this class. I don't know if they had this class when you were in Clear Lake High School, but when I was there, Scott, one of the electives was history of U.S. sports.
Nope.
Okay, so this class, you had 3 tests, and they were literally like Guinness sports record test, and then in the meantime, we just watched like classic sports movies. That's all we did, and one of them was baseball. Was Rocky. One of them was Ken Burns baseball. Chariots of Fire. I think Tin Cup might have been one. Just a little bit of everything, right? Something on Babe Ruth. Well, I'll never forget the sophomore basketball coach was the teacher of this class, Coach Warner. So he's like, and you'll appreciate this because it's the old school TVs, right? That were like posted in the right? So he's standing on a desk or on a chair, like ready to pause because he's got to have every class like pause at like certain scenes. Right.
Yeah.
So he's just standing there. And then he like Rocky says that to Adrian, I just want to go the distance with Creed. And he probably right there and he gets up, he goes, he just wants to go the distance with Creed, folks. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I was just like, how many did you practice that? Like again, I've seen Rocky 37 times by the time I'm a sophomore in high school watching. Like I was Rocky for Halloween in 6th grade. Like this is not new to me. But like this guy literally got on a desk like he's fucking Dead Poet Society. He's just like he just wants to go the distance with Creed. Like, oh my God, bro. I am like the only guy. I'm the only guy who didn't fall asleep during the movies because like you're playing movies I want to watch.
All right. So we'll table the Texans for now, Tim. I'm sure you were paying close attention to the winter meetings like I was. Your Astros goose eggs did not do anything. So are you tabling your expectations? Disappointed? Where are you?
I'm not. You and I have talked. It's pretty clear that Jim Crane is not going above the luxury tax threshold. And I'm more concerned. I'm not disappointed at not signing people. And you can't see what's on the bottom of the screen here. But the question I have for this segment, especially after the winter meetings, is Paredes gone? Because everything that I'm seeing or hearing coming out is that the Astros are putting on their best Glenn Ross that they can to try and close a deal to send Christian Walker anywhere. And that is not happening. And so people are interested in buying the contract of Isaac Paredes, right? And when you need pitching, which the Astros do, a team like the Red Sox has a need at third base after losing Alex Bregman. Hey, we can commiserate with that. They saw what it they saw what Paredes replacing Bregman looked like here at Houston. They're like, hey, we've got a short portion left too. We can do that here. And so they're willing to trade some of their young pitching. And that does scare me because if I have to choose offensively between one of those two guys, I want to keep Paredes over Christian Walker. Defensively, I like that Isak Paredes can play 3 different positions for me on the infield when he is completely healthy. I like that, especially after we just lost Mauricio Dubon. So to me, the idea of losing a Paredes right now is very, very concerning. But I do also understand the need to get some more starting pitching depth in this place and to do it without going over that luxury tax, which it's very, very clear the Astros are not going to be frontline spenders.
Well, and the Red Sox, kind of interesting. I don't know if you saw that they made inquiries into Corey Seager. So the Red Sox look like they're trying different ways to solve that third base problem. I've heard the Mets might be interested in Walker now that Alonso signed in Baltimore. So that's something to watch. I think the Astros are kind of pitching both guys. You mentioned Glengarry Gunloss, and I keep thinking, always be closing.
ABC,
always. And
I'd like to see like Dana Brown walk out of a call with another GM and just pour himself into a giant cup of coffee and just like, whoa! Coffee for closers, motherfuckers!
You know what's funny, though, is that whole Alec Baldwin thing is not part of the play.
It's really not a great movie, in my opinion. Like, I've seen it, it's whatever. The play's probably better.
The play is probably better, but, the thing is they had just invented a part for Alec Baldwin, I think, because Alec Baldwin wanted a part in it. And so he just, he does, classic Alec Baldwin where he just, plays a schmuck. And he's like, always be closing. Yeah. So I think what's going to end up happening is you're going to deal one of those guys, and it's just a question of who. And really, and then you might deal Myers and or Sanchez on top of that. Here the Royals are sniffing around Myers. There was obviously some potential move of, with the Rays for Shane Baz. That would probably be Sanchez because they just signed Cedric Mullins, so I don't think they would need Myers. So a lot of different moving parts in this thing. And here's my trepidation is that when you start dealing these guys, if you deal an outfielder and you deal an infielder, what's your bench look like?
I mean, it's definitely interesting and it's thinning. However, I think you and I can both be honest. You're dealing from a position of strength. I have pretty much up until this last season written off Jake Myers, right? And you can quote anything I said before the 2025 season. It was not pro Jake Myers. I thought Chaz was the guy at different points. I wanted Mauricio Dubon to be the starting center fielder, but that allowed me to think about a world without Jake Myers as my starting center fielder. So the idea of trading Jake Myers at a high point is tasty. I like that because I never thought he was the center fielder of the future. So to me, I'm dealing from a position of strength there. Then this kid Zach Cole comes up the last 2 weeks of the season, dazzles, a little sprinkle of something magic, and you're like, huh. I'd like to see a little more of him. Yeah, right? I don't know if it's going to be excellent. I don't know, but I want more of that. He has a higher ceiling than Jake Myers. He's got more pop than Jake Myers, and I don't feel like we're giving up much defensively over he and Jake Myers. Then you and I have talked about Cam Smith. I think long term, Cam Smith is a center fielder. I think what he showed with range and defense in right field, I think he plays a George Springer type center field, in my opinion. And I think he would do very well there. So to me, again, you've got a lot of outfielders that you can move. You've got this big question mark with Jose Altuve. move what you can move and let some of those questions answer themselves. You've still got Bryce Matthews, who was Dana Brown's first round pick, who is probably going to be a big part of that bench this year. I think he beats out that kid we got in the trade from St. Louis.
Oh, you mean from Atlanta? You mean?
I'm sorry. Yeah, from Atlanta. I'm sorry.
You mean the guy with the worst bases per out in Major League Baseball of any hitter that I profiled? You mean that guy?
I do mean that guy, Scott.
He had like a 406 BPO, which the league average was like 678. Yeah, that guy. Well, okay. The idea of trading Jake Myers doesn't bother me. The idea of trading Jesus Sanchez doesn't bother me. The idea of trading Walker definitely doesn't bother me. Paredes does bother me.
Yep.
But I could see it by itself going like, okay. My problem is if you trade multiple guys. Because let's say you trade Myers and Sanchez, right? So you have Cam Smith, you have Zach Cole, and who?
Jordan / Jose Altuve is your left field DH combo in that situation.
And then Bryce Matthews is your second baseman full time?
You said where's Paredes in this situation? To me, Paredes is my second baseman full time.
Well, if you trade so let's say you make a third trade and you're able to trade Walker. See,
okay, so then Jordan's playing left field, or it's time for Bryce Matthews to play second base full time, and Jose Altuve's in left field, and we just defined that.
We also have a Houston Texans situation developing with the Astros. Did you see who they hired for head trainer?
Oh God, who?
The assistant trainer. It's like we're hiring an offensive line coach. Oh, the old guy, he sucked.
That's the opposite. That's the opposite of what I was hoping for.
What could I do, man? It was him. It was that guy.
Oh my God.
It's like I could my hands were tied. I couldn't do anything.
We are in one of the greatest medical centers of the world. One of the best places to get cancer treatment in the entire fucking world. We have some of the best collection of doctors mankind has ever seen in human history. And you decided, we'll stay with what we got. We'll keep it in house. We like to promote from within here. We really believe in organizational growth. We're like a family. We're not just a workplace. We're a work family.
Well, it wasn't his fault. It was the head guy's fault. It was like, when I was a kid and I asked my dad this and I didn't, because I didn't understand, but I was actually watching the Iran-Contra affair and they kept talking about the hearings and they kept talking about a defense secretary that had died. And I kept saying, Dad, why don't they just pin it all on him? And he's like, no, son, you really can't do that. And, 10-year-old me really doesn't, I mean, what do I know, right?
Well, somehow, somewhere, Donald Trump was like, that fucking kid had it right all along. He just pick a fall. Who's the guy? Who's the guy at the NFL conference? He was like, you just need a fucking fall guy, man. You guys gotta have a fall guy.
Was that Chris Carter? Was that
it's Chris Carter. You gotta have a fall guy. You knew from a young age, Scott. You gotta have a fall guy.
Oh man, but yeah, so forgive me, Tim, if I don't have quite the faith that our health situation is going to be vastly improved.
Right.
Forgive me. Kind of like how Spencer Arrighetti, goes on the shelf with, basically a shredded elbow and we're just going to rest it. It'll be fine. Okay. Yeah. I'll keep my fingers crossed. Yeah.
Survey says
that seems to be our organizational plan. We're just gonna see it all goes to plan. All's well. It's like Kevin Bacon in Animal House. All's well.
Show me all's well on the board.
Yeah, it's like thinking of do you ever watch the Celebrity Jeopardies on Saturday Night Live?
Those are my best one.
Where we had a kid that pulled like a John Travolta, where he's asking, the audio daily double. Continents, Asia. I don't know. Asia. We told a kid that had a kid that bet us that he could pick out Ireland. He picked out every continent but Europe.
Ooh, that's rough.
He pointed to Australia and said it was Cuba.
Not great.
No.
Scott, in reference to your Saturday Night Live sketches, you can call me Turd Ferguson from now on. Over to you, Burt Reynolds. Check the name. Okay, Turd Ferguson.
It's a funny hat. See, it's because it's an oversized hat. It's a funny hat.
I'll take the penis schmightia. I'm sorry, I think the pen is mightier.
Anal bum cover. I tried to invent the anal bum cover 5 years ago. I failed to do so. It was my greatest regret.
Oh my god.
All right, Tim.
Mightier is my favorite one. That's not what your mother said last night, Trebek.
Is it time for some awards, Tim?
It is, Scott. Let's give some awards away. Scott, pal, right in the kisser. I think you and I are aligned on this one. And maybe we shouldn't even give this award because it benefited us. But you and I both agree that we can't not talk about the back-to-back questionable fourth down calls by Andy Reid. The first one that sets the Texans up with already in field goal range, like they're only 38. And then the second one that led to the Aziz Shair interception off of the Jalen Petrie Mack truck collision with Travis Kelce there.
Well, my favorite thing here, Tim, is that he went for it twice. And the second time, it didn't even. Is it the first time it didn't burn him, or the second time? Because we only scored the field goal.
It burned them both.
Well,
it burned them both times because we got the field goal the second time.
Because I thought we had to punt it back to them, and then he threw it.
Oh no, the interception was not on fourth down. You're right. So the interception was later. It was later on, like a second down play. You're right. The second one did not burn him. We had to punt it. But yeah, he went for it. Like both times, your defense was balling. Quite frankly, you and I have talked about the ineptitude of our offense. Their defense was balling. Who knows what happens if he doesn't turn the ball over at the 38-yard line with 8 minutes left in that game, where we could, kind of be aggressive because we already had the field goal in pocket and knew our defense was balling. But I think you and I both know if we only get a field goal there and give it back to Patrick Mahomes, we don't feel good. We're just like, Here we go. Here we go again. Okay, classic Texans. So to get a touchdown was great.
The way their defense is playing, I'm shocked they didn't get a defensive touchdown with the way that our third quarter went, with the way that Stroud was like immediately under duress. So what I'm saying is Andy Reid is getting my punch in the gut because I'm just offended by stupid football, even when it benefits me. I'm offended, and I think the problem is that in football, and I think a lot of these coaches want to run things like baseball. In baseball, when you have a 162 game schedule, you play the percentages because the percentages over a long season are going to benefit you. So yeah, you can look at analytics and you can sit there and say, yeah, the mathematics says for me to go to fourth down here, but you gotta play the game in the flow of the game. And the Texans, if you kicked it on our side of the 50, we weren't going to score. We weren't going to score. Hell, I mean, we had to go with Daria Bugawale to score the touchdown on his one carry of the game. When he's coming into the game and everybody's going, oh, shit, no, we got to hit Daria. Yeah, Daria.
Chris Collinsworth is literally, how many times do you think he's ever actually practiced? Oh, my God, he's in for the end zone.
And so I'm so sick and tired of coaches, ignoring the game flow and going with what a mathematical piece of paper tells you to do. See, to me, the math, throw the math out the window. Your defense is dominating us, and we weren't going to move the football. that you were going to win the game. You were going to score somehow and beat us 13-10 if need be.
Yeah, I agree with you. And then even if you decide to go for it on fourth down, even if that's the call, Kareem Hunt was punishing us. We could not bring down that guy on initial contact all game. The rushing touchdown that he had, he was hit in the backfield a yard or two behind the line of scrimmage, then breaks free and leans forward for a touchdown. So I understand you've got a guy in Patrick Mahomes who's elite, but it was a cold night. Guys' hands were cold. They were not able to hold on to the football. And not only was it a questionable decision to go, then the play call that you went with was, I think 2 terrible play calls, quite frankly, that they ran on top of the bad decision to go for it.
Yeah, and I feel bad for Patrick Mahomes in that instance because he threw a lot of catchable balls that just weren't caught. But
I think so, yeah. But he also like the Kelsey interception. That ball was behind Travis.
Oh yeah. No, that wasn't a good throw. It probably shouldn't have been picked, but hey, it was a great play by Shearer, to make that pick. Hey, great play by Petrie to make his pick. So 2 of the 3
Petrie,
picks.
not only does he tip it, he then intercepts it himself.
Yeah, it was a spectacular play on his part. The Lassiter pick was a bad throw by Mahomes. That was a horrible play. But yeah, I just don't get it when coaches do that and they sit there, oh, I'm going to go with the numbers. And it's like, how's the game actually running? That's what I don't get.
I tend to agree with you, Scott, and you and I were in line on this. And Andy had to win some kind of award for that decision. And even though it did benefit us, I sat there going, I literally texted you immediately like this.
Oh yeah,
this has to be something, right?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we were co-signing that one.
We are.
All right, so next round is the horse's ass. In other words, get the hell out of town. This is the 5th time have I nominated this guy?
It's probably been pretty frequent.
Is he going to be like that SNL sketch where you have like Steve Martin, or like the 4 or 5 timers club? Some of the times they hosted. Did you ever see that one?
I did, yeah.
Nick Caley. You know what? I'm sure that you're somewhat hamstrung by what DeMeco Ryans wants. I have no doubt in my mind. But, dude, it's coming. You're coming into the second half. You know what Steve Spagnuolo does. He's going to dial up the pressure because your team shows repeatedly that they don't handle pressure. And in 4 series, as Tim said, what's that play where you like let the line through and you throw the ball over them and you have like a wall of blockers? What was that?
I don't know. Am I allowed to say this? Are we talking? The screen pass.
Screen.
Yes. Are we allowed to say that word?
I don't know.
It seems like it's not. You can't say that. We got to call it a flick a fly sneaky play.
And I love this. So we're going to run the ball 26 times. Were any of them sweeps or like a?
Yes, actually, I believe we ran 2 and we did it back to back. Like the first one worked to the left, and they're like, "Ooh, we got like 5 or 6 yards. Let's do it to the right." And then it was the same exact play on the right side. It didn't work, and then that was it for the whole game.
Like any outside zone?
Not much.
Yeah, just basically off guard, off center. Basically the whole game.
Doesn't matter, Brian.
Yeah, and I know you win the game, and I know it's designed to where we're going to let our defense win. But you have all these damn procedural penalties. We're in frickin' week 14. Why are we having all these procedural penalties? And some of them cost you points because I didn't have to score a touchdown on one that ends up getting called
Touchdown
back.
got called back for illegal formation. You had a first down called back that, to be fair, should have been. Even on the broadcast, they're like, that should have been an offsides on the defense, and instead it was called on the left tackle.
But I'm thinking like the procedure, like the illegal formation stuff.
That one sucked. That took a touchdown off the board, but they did get 3, but yeah, it should have been 7.
So, I mean, and we've talked about it, and we talked about it earlier in the show. Eventually, you're going to need more than 20 points. And you're not going to get more than 20 points if you, A, don't have a plan for pressure, and B, can't get out of your own damn way with false starts, illegal formations, whatever else, bullshit, legal motion, whatever else you can come up with, penalties that, most of them in my football playbook would not exist. To me, there is no illegal formation. There is no illegal motion. You could have a fucking Chinese fire drill for all I care, as long as you're all on the same side of the line of scrimmage. If you want to line 9 guys behind the center and the quarterback, I think that would be a stupid formation. But you know what? Have at it. I've got 9 guys behind me. I'm going to hand off to any one of them. Do you know which one it's going to be? No. You guess. But, to me, we're sitting there, and this is a rant on NFL officiating, but, he was 2 feet behind the line of scrimmage. Who gives a fucking shit? It doesn't really impact, the play all that much. But the point is, those are the rules. You got to play by the rules. It's week 14. Let's figure this shit out already.
No, I tend to agree with you, Scott. And I may have talked about it a little bit on this show, but I'll bring it up again. I am one of the assistant coaches on my daughter's 12U recreational basketball team. And I can't tell you how many times we've worked on like an inbound play, or we've gone over the different types of passes between like a chest pass or a bounce pass. And the moment any trouble happens, these girls just do something that resembles like a sky hook, and they just fucking sky hook the ball into oblivion and hope for the best, right? And it's just maddening as a coach to be like, we fucking worked on this, and I know now why Bobby Knight threw a chair, and I know now why Kelvin Sampson at one point ripped his tie off and threw it on the floor every single fucking game. So maybe I understand a little bit of where Nick Cayley. I will defend Nick Cayley a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
I guarantee you in practice, he's like, guys, make sure the fucking tight end. I guarantee you. And it's the most frustrating thing because this stuff goes in one ear and out the other with your fucking players. And yes, I'm comparing the Houston Texans to a group of 12-year-old fucking girls because it's the same thing, right? We work on something in practice. We get to the game. There's a little bit of defensive pressure, and we just yeet that ball into oblivion. It's the same thing, right? You get into the fucking game. Ooh, I got a sneaky little play. I got to make I forgot to line up in the right spot. Take the touchdown off the board. I should have paid attention, coach. I'm so sorry. Like, you are no different than the 12-year-old girls who I coach who have never played basketball before.
I don't want to get you in any trouble here, Tim, but I am going to ask a question, and you can plead the fifth if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
How much are your girls getting paid?
No, I can't answer that. NIL deals, and I play agent as well as assistant coach. I'm going around to the local car dealerships asking who's got a little billboard space for the court queens.
But I don't know how many times I've coached volleyball where it's like platform to target, and you see the ball getting shanked, hitting some poor woman who's 50 years old on the sideline. It's like, okay, the court's this way, she's this way. You gotta make sure you're facing the court. But I get it. I get it.
They tried to score on the wrong basket at one point. Just like, fucking kidding me? We gave up 46 points. Like the game before us was like 22-20 was the final score. We lost 46 to like 16. We gave up 46 fucking points in a recreational 12U game. It was like a ole casa ole.
All right, Tim, who you got?
Jose Lima made an appearance on that one. Okay, I am going to go with Colin Allred. This man just won't go the fuck away, Scott. Like, I am so over mainstream Democrats. I just can't fucking take it anymore. Like, we have a legitimate two good choices, I would say, Scott, right now for the primary for the Democratic ticket for the Senate seat that's available between Jasmine Crockett and James Tallarico. Between either one of those, like, I'm happy with that candidate. I think they both have strengths, they both have weaknesses, but I think either one of those would be good. Colin Howard tries to force himself into that race, realizes he doesn't have the horses, he backs out of that. What does he do next? Instead of realizing, like, your mainstream center of the road, center right fucking version of Democrat doesn't work anymore, instead of just going the fuck away and going and being a lobbyist or whatever they do now, he's not going to go try and unseat through primarying his old congressional district, Texas 33, a legitimate progressive Democrat who actually like answers phone calls and will help their constituents. It's a female. I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but she does a good job for her district, and her constituents largely on on social media platforms say the same thing. So you're going to go primary an existing Democrat for what reason? Because you weren't wanted when you ran against
Ted Cruz,
terribly smoking meat guy. No, sorry, he ran against Ted Cruz. You're right. Now Cornyn is anyone can beat Cornyn, and he's probably going to lose primarily to a serial philanderer and criminal. But for the first time, like, either one of these people should be able to roast the Republican. We didn't need you there. We didn't want you there. Why can't you just go the fuck away? Right? Like, these people get a little taste of that spotlight, and they refuse to go back to normal life. That's not what this is supposed to be. You are not supposed to work in government forever because you got elected to Congress one time, right? Like, you don't need to perpetually be in election mode for 40 years of your life. Your job is not to run for things. The running part should be the least important part of working in government, right? But for people like Colin Allred or Beto, pardon me, the campaign's the most important part. These guys are professional campaigners, where someone like Jasmine Crockett or James Tallarico, they are civil servants, but they understand that you have to campaign, you have to create an image, you have to be able to fight the fucking fight and get down in the trenches. They may have different styles of doing it, right? Like James Tallarico, to me, points out the hypocrisy through scripture a little bit more, maybe shines the light on his opponent, or shines the mirror on his opponent, where Jasmine Crockett, I love her. She's a firebrand. She's like, you want to talk shit? Let's fucking go. Right? Like, she is. There's a great clip going around about Hakeem Olajuwon's trash talk when he would play in the NBA, where he's like, you cannot stop the horizontal movement. I will beat you with horizontal movement. Like, that's literally what she is, right? Like, you can say all this flowery bullshit, but Jasmine Crockett comes in, she's like, you can't stop my horizontal movement. I will beat you with my horizontal movement. Like, that's what it is. You are whatever. I'm sorry, you're racist and you don't feed anybody. Like, that's what she does. You guys can go on and on and on and on. And she's like, racists say what? They're just like, what? And you're like, got him. Aha. Like, and you weren't needed there. And I'm just, it's Colin Allred, and it's just mainstream Democrats in general, Scott. Maybe that's really more of the horse's ass, but like, they keep shoving these center of the road, really middle right, center right Democrats at us, when, like, we truly want progressives. You and I have talked endlessly about how successful Mamdani's campaign was. That wasn't a center right campaign. That was a progressive campaign. Obama was the first black man ever elected as president of the United States. He didn't run a center right campaign. He ran an extremely progressive campaign. Now, did he do those things? No, that's a whole other issue. However, that campaign he ran was a very progressive leftist campaign. Those campaigns win, and they win effectively because people want those things. Don't give me fucking Colin Allred saying we have to save democracy. We have to, for the love of our country and fuck that. It's not about for the love of my country. It's not about I love America so much that I'll do whatever I can to save democracy. Fuck all that. It's about saving the planet. It's about treating my fellow human beings better. It's about saving humanity from the fucking scum that are trying to infect it. I don't care if it's America. I don't care if it's the world. I don't care if it's the United States of Scott, whatever you want to call it. I'll live wherever, but I want to live peacefully. And to me, I want someone who understands that, who understands that the borders don't mean fucking anything to me. I want to open my arms with love and compassion and a blanket if you're cold, a bottle of water if you're thirsty. That's what I want. Not someone who's like, we're still going to deport people, but it'll be deportations light. Okay. We'll be nicer about it.
Well, two things kind of hit me, and this is one of the things I wish could happen. I wish if we could get 20 million people to vote in the Democratic primary, just for, for Senate, if they could say like, that's so many people that Ted Cruz, you're out. We're just going to have two Democratic senators now. You're obviously, not as popular, but I think in all seriousness, and I mentioned Beto because Beto ran for Senate, ran a good campaign, but who knows, how on the level these campaigns are in Texas, in terms of voting. Then he runs for governor and he loses there. You're done. You get two shots. So to me, I'm going to give Jasmine Crockett or James Tallarico a pass if they lose the Senate campaign to whoever the Republicans are going to throw out there, whether it's a zombie or whatever the fuck they're going to do. Because the state of Texas is pretty much stacked against Democrats at this point. I've made this comment that a Democrat's going to have to win by at least 5 points to win by 1. Because, Republican cheating is that, rampant in Texas. So if they lose, I'll give them a mulligan. You get one more shot. But if any one of them sits there and loses a second time, whichever race they want to run, you're done. You can be a commentator, go out and, talk at MSC Now, go to Young Turks. I don't know, but get away from elected politics if you're a repeated loser.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. There's too much money in it though. Like these people make money campaigning. They make money being on tickets, and then, hey, if you back out now, I'll make sure this done and this gets done, or hey, I'll line up this board of directors position for you if you're willing to back out of this race. And there's too much, lobbying behind closed doors. There's too much horse trading or whatever you want to call it, Scott. But yeah, mainstream Democrats / Colin Allred, you are my horse's ass this week. Scott, who are we tipping our caps to?
I'm going to tip my cap, and I think we're doing two similar, just different people. But that game on Sunday night, to me on defense, the story for me is Kamari Laster, because as of midweek, actually late in the week, he had not practiced. His foot was hurting. Yeah, in fact, I think as of Thursday, some publications were saying he was out on the game Sunday, that he would not play. What does he do? He gets an interception, but to me, the play in the end zone was the huge deal where he had gotten beat, but he catches up and he punches that ball out just in time. I mean, absolutely textbook, perfect, closing coverage on that play, that it would have been 17-10. I don't think Andy Reid goes for it when he's up 17-10. So, I mean, I think that is also a play that absolutely changed the whole complexion of the game. And I think the pick did too, because even though it almost effectively acted like a punt, it was, they had scored 10 fairly easy points to start the second half. And all of a sudden, it looks like, oh shit, here comes the avalanche. And you stop them, you make them punt once, and then the second time you pick them, and now your defense is starting to feel its oats again. And I think, that play was a very underrated play in the course of that game.
I couldn't agree with you more, Scott. To me, we're both baseball guys through and through. To me, that's kind of like getting out of a bases loaded, no out jam with nothing but like a sack fly and a double play, right? Like, yeah, they got to run, but you feel really good about the fact that you got out of it with just a run. And that Kamari Lassiter pick to me was the double play that just got you out of the inning and kind of reset everything and let your starting pitcher be like, whew, okay, I got through whatever jam that was. Let's go back and go to work, right? And for me, that was what the defense did. They got through that little bit of a jam they were having. They allowed the 10 points to tie the game up, but at the end of the day, they settled in and they went back to doing what they like to do, right? And to me, I think you're very correct in giving that hat tip to Lassiter there. His coverage all night was fantastic, and the breakup on the Thornton pass was huge. Mahomes underthrew it just a little bit, gave Lassiter that opportunity to get back into the play. And instead of being like, fuck, I'm beat, his hip swivel is elite. And I was watching some clips that got put together today on Reddit, comparing to some of the plays he makes defensively to like his combine footage when they're working out, like swivel the hips this way, swivel the hips that way. That stuff plays, right? That stuff plays at this level. Those are the drills that they pay attention to. And the Texans did a great job of finding somebody who has those characteristics, who can move on the fly like that, who can change on a ball in midair and still go make a play on it, even after he's been beat.
Yeah, and of course he played at Georgia, and I think they've played a few big games.
Every now and then, small conference over there. They, if you're one of those, next wave of schools, every now and then you can sneak into the playoff.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, that's a great pick, and I'm in a similar vein. I think the Texans defense was fantastic this week. First, before I get to my main hat tip, I want to give a honorary mention to Woody Marks. End of the football game, third down, and I think it was 4 or 5. Everybody in the stadium knew that the Texans were going to run that football. Woody Marks gets the handoff. There's a scrum at the line of scrimmage. And then next thing you know, crouching tiger, hidden fucking Woody comes spiraling out of there and just leaps forward, reaches forward, and he got the first down. And, that pretty much killed the game at that point. You were able to take the clock down and kick the field goal to make it a 10-point game. But if you look at the stat sheet for Woody Marks, Scott, I don't think you're going to see anything that makes you go, wow, this guy was unbelievable today. The yards per carry probably wasn't great. He did have the touchdown reception, but the way that man ran the football, protected the football, picked up the tough yards that were there, found ways to not lose huge yardage when the blocking wasn't there. I think that deserves an honorary mention for hat tip this week.
Absolutely. Good call there.
All right, my main hat tip, and again, I agree with you defensively. I'm going Jalen Petrie. We talked about the hit on Kelsey. We've talked about the interception where not only does he tip the ball up in the air, he then has the awareness to go and find it and make the play on the football. He basically eliminated Travis Kelsey from the football game for a majority of the game. And he's a big-time hitter, but he's smart about it. And that's what I love about him so much is we've had guys in that safety spot before for the Texans who were big-time hitters, right? Everybody remembers DJ Swearinger. It was fun. He'd come down. He'd fucking lay the lumber on you. But that man headhunted every single time. He'd add up like to 45 yards in penalties for personal fouls and late hits and everything that he did. Petrie is fucking clean. And every time he comes down, he gets a full head of steam. And he will decleat a motherfucker, but he'll do it legally, and there's really no flag to throw on it. But he's smart, and he keeps a nose for the football. He's always around the football, and he's one of those guys who's a difference maker. And early on in the season, the argument between C.J. Gardner-Johnson and the defensive coaching staff was C.J. Gardner-Johnson thought he should have been playing more in that nickel role that Petrie is in. And I have to say, I think the Texans coaching staff was completely right. Like, no, Petrie's the fucking guy for that job. And there's really no way to go about it. When he's on the field, guardian cap on, laying the lumber, this defense is just different. They're a different team with Jalen Petrie out there.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw this, but C.J. Gardner-Johnson got roasted because he is now a member of the Bears. And I saw there was one pass over the middle that ended up going for 60 yards, and the guy took it to the house where he just wasn't catching them. I mean, he ran and he ran, but so yeah, I don't know if a guy can suddenly get old, in the span of a year, but that happened to C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
Father Time is undefeated, Scott.
All right, is it that time?
It is, Scott. It is the scumbag of the week. Who do you
Okay,
have?
so I've got Senator Tom Cotton, but usually I come in pretty hot, so I'm going to take a different tact here, Tom. So let me tell you a little story, something that, I'm not sure if it ever happened, but, it could have happened, right? One of those things that could have happened. People are saying. So this couple, they're driving out in the countryside, and they look over at a farm, and they see that a goat is giving the farmer a blowjob. So they immediately call the cops. Cops come out, they arrest the farmer. The farmer, the only thing he knows to do is he calls his business lawyer. The guy that handled the real estate deal. And he meets him in the courthouse and in the jailhouse, and he says, "Listen, man, I'd love to help you, but criminal law is just really not my bag." So we've got two other lawyers in our firm. We've got one that was Harvard educated. He charges about $300 an hour, and we've got one. He's about $50 an hour. He's not really much to look at. Doesn't sound good, but he's a good jury picker. And the farmer's like, you know what? I don't have that kind of money. So give me the jury picker. The jury picker doesn't even meet with him, right? Doesn't even get his story. So the first time he's seeing him is actually in court when trial's going to begin. And the jury picker lawyer comes in. He's got like mustard all up down his shirt. He's got ketchup on his sleeves. His hair is all going out of the way. And the farmer's looking at him. He's going, "Oh, shit, I'm going to jail." Sure enough, they get the couple on the stand. The couple on the stands, like the man sitting there. Yeah. And we looked over, and the goat was giving him a blowjob, and then licked him clean afterwards. Jury number one looks up to jury number two and said, a good goat will do that. So, and I say that joke because somewhere there are 12 people that will excuse anything, Tim. And there'll be 12 people that will excuse a goat giving a farmer a blowjob, even out in public. And apparently Tom Cotton, I don't know if he's going to excuse a goat giving a farmer a blowjob, but he's excusing quite literally the equivalent in national security. So was there any proof that these boats that are leaving Venezuela have any drugs on them, Tim? Has the administration produced any proof of that?
No, in fact, there's a 25% chance at minimum that it did not have any drugs on it.
Okay, so but let's give them that. Let's say they had drugs on them. Are you allowed to use a military operation to handle a civil crime?
You're not.
But okay, but let's give them that. Let's even go that far. Seems to me I remember the Geneva Convention regulating what you're allowed to do even in times of war. And when you shoot down a boat or plane, are you allowed to come in after the fact and shoot at the pilot or the sailors?
That's a negative, Ghost Rider.
So here's Tom Cotton on the Sunday shows. Well, the guy was up. He got on the boat. He took his shirt off. Maybe he was sunbathing. We don't know. Maybe he was waving his arms. Maybe he was trying to flag somebody down to go get the drugs. Maybe he wasn't asking for help. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? at certain point, and this is what makes me, hate this situation more. That I have to look at Rand fucking Paul and go, thank you for being sane. To Rand fucking Paul. It's like I've sent you that stuff by Jeff Tiedrich. You know, where he'll have like a little thing. The worst person you know says something you agree with, and it's like that's what I feel like every time I'm watching like Rand Paul go against this administration. It's like Rand Paul's just a douchebag, and I have to sit there and agree with him. You know, where the fuck are we? Where the fuck are we that you can't see something simple and go like, yeah, I think the administration went too far on this one. That's a simple thing to say. We shouldn't be doing that. And how many ways did I just go through? I had to go through several layers there to even get to the point where shooting them out of the water is the only objectionable thing. I had to go through 3 other objectionable things just to get to that point. Because as Rand Paul pointed out again, voice of sanity, they would have to refuel like 25 times in between here in Venezuela. Are they, even if they have drugs, and the whole thing is, the whole administration, well, they're bringing fentanyl. Well, Venezuela doesn't make fentanyl. Not a drop. Mexico does, but but Venezuela doesn't. They make a lot of cocaine. But what are we doing here? Why are we bending over backwards to defend something that's indefensible? It's, even a 3rd grader can watch that happen and go like, man, that doesn't look right. I just don't get it, Tim.
I agree with you. And it's not the act, it's the man who committed the act at this point. There's nothing he's done so far that these people won't capitulate to. They won't continually lower the bar. Like you watched him murder people live. You're shown the tape. You're shown Pete Hegseth walking out of the room and, hey, you guys got this right. Okay, I sorry, I had tacos for lunch. I shouldn't have gone to Casa Ole for lunch, but I saw an old Jose Lima commercial. Like, little downtown pushdowns, but you guys are on this, right? And yeah, and you go, that seems like a good operation.
Did you see
there's nothing.
There's like a picture running around of a Taco Bell on fire, and the caption underneath says, that fire started in the bathroom.
That's too funny. But no, that's essentially what it is, right? Like there's nothing they won't find a way to justify at this point. And it's really sad, it's really disgusting. They should all be embarrassed. If you continue to vote for these people, you are saying that you're okay with murdering people of color. I mean, that's literally what it is. Enjoy church on Sunday, but you're also like saying murder's okay. So you cannot sit there and ever talk to me about the Bible or living a good Christian life or family values or anything like that, because you're fine with the double tap on a fucking boat that you have no idea the contents of.
Well, from now on, when we get into the situation, Tim, all I'm going to say is a good goat will do that. And that'll be kind of our signal.
Good to have. I'm going to take the sports route on the scumbag this week, Scott. And we're going to talk about the contemporary committee for the Baseball Hall of Fame. I'm going to name some names to you. And I want you to tell me what your thoughts on them are. Okay? Just a random group of names. They may or may not have some meaning to them. We'll talk about it at the end. Okay? Dale Murphy.
Good, but not good enough.
Okay. Don Mattingly.
If it weren't for his back, he would have been good enough.
Roger Clemens.
Best pitcher since World War II.
Barry Bonds.
Best hitter since World War II.
Gary Sheffield.
Obviously not the best because that was B. Bonds, but damn good baseball player for damn near 2 decades.
Jeff Kent.
Jeff Kent, a little bit more debatable, but I'm good. I'm good with what they did there.
Okay. I personally, in my opinion, think all of those guys should be Hall of Famers. I think Dale Murphy is probably the best hitter of the 80s. He was, for at least a good chunk of it, he was the best offensive player on the Braves. The argument can be made, right? There are guys who are in that Dale Murphy is better than. And I think you could go to the Hall of Fame index, and I think based on your logic of that book, I could make an argument that Dale Murphy should be in.
Okay.
That's right. I think the same could be said for Donnie Baseball. An argument could be made that he should be in based on what a Hall of Fame first baseman is, based on the Hall of Fame metric, based on the Hall of Fame index, correct?
Yeah, I can make an argument for all of them. Sure.
Well, to me, the argument against, there should be no argument against Clemens. There should be no argument against Bonds, and there should be no argument against Sheffield, correct?
Yeah, and to jump on your, I think, to jump on your scumbag here, my fundamental issue is that they are doing this all wrong. My question has always been, who is the best player who's not in? Well, pitchers, that's Roger Clemens. Hitters, that's Barry Bonds. It's very easy. But to me, I look at each position. And my problem with Kent is I don't have a problem with Kent being in the Hall of Fame per se. But there are second basemen that are better than him that are not in. Namely, Bobby Grich and Lou Whitaker. That's kind of my fundamental issue. And when you get to, like, say, Murphy, my fundamental issue is there are center fielders that are better than Murphy that are not in. Like, would you say Beltran's better than Murphy?
Yeah, but this committee specifically has players from a certain range they could choose from.
That's my fundamental. That system is flawed. Like, to me, Kenny Lofton is better than Murphy.
I disagree on that.
You look at my index; it's pretty
offensively. Dale Murphy was a better player offensively than Kenny Lofton. Kenny Lofton was a better defensive player, but I think offensively, Dale Murphy was a better player.
That's going to be pretty close when you throw in base running as well as part of the offense. But yeah, but my problem is that because you're getting into the larger issue here. I think Clemens, Bonds, and Sheffield is the larger issue because you and I could have a high-minded debate about Dale Murphy, and both of us can be right and both of us can be wrong. There is no real justification for those other three guys. The problem is that you're going to start moralizing, and I love it when people like Joe Morgan, God rest his soul, is going like, well, none of us back in our day would have done that. No, you fucking dipshit. You were popping amphetamine.
Blueies and greenies and cocaine and fucking.
You were popping greenies like they were Tic Tacs. Some of y'all were corking their bat. Some of y'all, Gaylord Perry, I think when the ball rolled back to him, had 5 bubblegum wrappers that were stuck to the ball. If it would roll back to him after he pitched it. I mean, Eddie Harris was based on on Gaylord Perry. The Eddie Harris character on Major League is based on Gaylord Perry. So
not on the baseball.
So don't give me this shit about we didn't cheat. Yeah, you did. You just did it in a different way. And it's kind of the same thing when you go back to the whole sign stealing scandal. We've been stealing signs for over a century. It's part of baseball. If you don't want your sign stolen, do better. You had the PitchCom technology for probably going on 20 years before you actually decided to use it. So let's throw all that aside. To me, is Barry Bonds one of the best players in baseball before he used?
Yes.
Yes. Was Roger Clemens one of the best pitchers in baseball before he used?
Yes.
Now, Sheffield, I don't know when he started using, but he's one of the best players of his era, and we don't know how many people from his era were using. That's, and to me, I'm not going to compare Sheffield to, let's say, Ted Williams or Ralph Kiner, because they're playing in two different eras. It's hard to compare that. One guy is playing only against white players for part of his career. One guy is, playing for only 10 or 12 years because guys got hurt and all this, that, and the other. So I compare Sheffield with the other right fielders that played at the same time. And he was one of the 3 or 4 best right fielders. Now, another guy that they're going to end up going at, and I don't know where you would put him. Where would you put Sheffield with Manny Ramirez?
Probably pretty similar, maybe even a little bit better defensively. Definitely a little bit better defensively. And quite frankly, less of a headache from a team management standpoint.
Sheffield played on a lot of teams, so I don't know about that. We don't know what he was.
If you sit down and look at it, so did Man Ram. He bounced around at the end there.
Yeah, he did. I mean, I think they're two damn similar players.
I agree.
And to me, Man Ram he's got more home runs than any player in postseason history. Absolutely balled out in Boston, was one of the reasons why they broke the Bambino curse. Came over to the Dodgers, kind of helped them win. I don't think they won the World Series, but he helped them, get deep into the playoffs. Was there in Cleveland when they were getting deep into the playoffs. So, I mean, I don't know. It doesn't make much sense to me. And the thing is that they're not eligible to come up again until 2031, which is precisely my point, my problem with how we're doing this system. Instead of looking at positions holistically, we're breaking it down to this time period, and we're going to set that time period aside for about 5 or 6 years. And then we're going to look at this other time period. Like, why are we exclusively looking at the 19th century? I mean, do they have enough, great-great-grandkids that can show up and do the induction speech for them? I mean, there's some of those guys that need to be in, but why do we have to dedicate an entire ballot to it? Why can't we look at a position and say, like, you know what, Bill Dahlin's a Hall of Famer. Let's put him in. Instead of going like...
It's gotten out of control. It really has. Like, even this committee's existence, you're supposed to look from 1980 till the present. There's a list of 8. You can pick 3, right? And to me, if you want to be the morality police, the initial vote was that opportunity, right? Like, you were shamed. You didn't get in by vote. You didn't get to... But at the end of the day, you cannot tell the story of baseball without the all-time fucking home run leader being enshrined. And you can't tell the story of baseball. I mean, you've got 2 decades of baseball history where Roger Clemens was integral. He was on the late 80s, early 90s Red Sox. He's part of the Yankees late 90s, early 2000s run. He's part of the Astros run to the World Series. We've got one of the most iconic broadcast moments in history with Roger Clemens. Oh my God, he's coming back, Roger Clemens. You can't just not have that moment in base. These are, and Sheffield is one of the best hitters of his time. And again, I have nothing wrong with Jeff Kent being selected, but if he was the 4th best player on that list, which he was, in my opinion, and you can only pick 3, and yet you only pick Jeff Kent.
Yeah, and what to me, and the way you handle this, if the Baseball Hall of Fame is a museum first and foremost, it's for telling the history of the game. So go ahead and put on their plaque, or even put like a special whole, needle wing where you have like a big syringe as you walk through, and you see all the guys that use steroids. If that's the way you want to play it.
How about for an extra $25, you can do like this fake, like steroid, like simulation where like you get measured, they do like a fake injection, you go for the whole thing. Just really see what you can like have a simulated, like they put on some VR goggles and you feel roid rage and you just like you beat up a fucking parking attendant in VR, and then you go to jail and the whole process.
Did you see the whole the John Oliver where he did like the athlete at the end, where like okay, here's your practice press conference. You're coming up with excuses for why you tested positive. Can you imagine, like Roger Clemens came up with a dumb one. Okay, the HGH wasn't for me. I allowed my trainer to inject my wife with HGH. It's like, really?
They had the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition coming up, and it was a couples edition that year, Scott.
Yeah.
And his wife was wanting to look fucking Debbie Clemens wanted to look like the smoke show that she was. She was at the gym. This is all lining up. I don't know why you're questioning this.
Or like, Brian Cushing's, I was overtrained. I mean, really, I mean, but yeah, have that be a part of it. Here, you've got 60 seconds. Come up with an excuse right now. What are you going to come up with?
All right, Scott. I think we've beat this one into the ground. Hall of Fame committee, you suck. You are not the morality police. You literally have racists, philanderers, plenty of cheaters, doctors of baseball, spitballers, tack ballers, everything in your Hall of Fame, and you're just. I mean, Jeff Kent literally lied about a dirt bike injury. Fucking, they still get paid. Like, you want to talk about morality?
Washing his truck, Tim.
Because he went mudding and dirt biking and had mud all over it. All right, Scott. Anything you want to throw in before we say so long farewell to our beautiful audience?
Absolutely not. But hopefully we get some Astros news by next week.
And hopefully good news. We hope Paredes stays and Walker goes. I have nothing against Christian Walker, but when we're trying to build the best team for 2026, to me, it means Isaac Paredes is there. I appreciate everybody who joined us this week. We'll see everybody next week on Born on the Bayou Sports.